allowing consciousness to navigate through the chaos, the revolutions, the resistance, the crisis, as all of those go through um, this particular time and space, we learn how to navigate, we learn how to swim through it. And the last 2 years has proved, I guess, that these conversations online seem to have an impact, seem to have some value to the overall contribution towards peace, towards harmony, towards balance, and towards a navigation. So we are now halfway through February, near enough, and we find ourselves in the energy that we anticipated in November, October, November about the protests and the riots that begin to rise and become more and more visible. Now, we have to now ask the question, and if you are aware enough, then you will see what is actually taking place. So, as the narrative of this deadly virus that was going to sweep across the world and just kill everyone unless they complied with A, B, and C, and the intense pressure that was placed on individuals, the intense pressure that were placed on employees, the intense pressure that was placed on people that had bereavement, the intense pressure that was placed on people who died alone. All of that, all of that pressure that you and I all lived through, navigated through. But many have been the casualty of that situation. Many, many, many. And the casualty, how come it's starting to fade away? How come suddenly that which was going to completely decimate humanity and everything on it, how come it's just disappearing? And we find that within our propaganda channels that we called out back in the day, that all mainstream media appear to be saying the same narrative. How come the narrative is now all of a sudden on war? So you will notice as the narrative has become more and more porous in terms of the COVID thing, um, and started to fall apart as the impact of the poison is starting to come through in the heart issues, in the cancers, in the infertility, as even the medics are starting to question um, the process, and as more and more information comes to the surface of all these connections between the corporations, between the so-called politics, between the military complex, and between those who wish to now not just medicalize humanity, but pharmacalize humanity. Such from the moment you are born to the moment that you die, that you are dependent on intervention through a whole range of needles and jabs, etc. And all of that time, you are simply being harvested. You are simply being harvested in order to fulfill some commercial agenda. So, as more and more of this data, this information begins to leak out, and it is coming here, you will find that many, many individuals um, become impacted through the very sheer disbelievability of what's going on. And if one still has doubts about that, then you simply need to consider what was going on a year and 18 months ago when the so-called conspiracy theorists were being ostracized. Anyone who questioned the narrative was abused online, was fact checked online, was censored online. You couldn't ask the questions. And if you dared ask the questions, then you were automatically put in the category in which you were created into this division, the pros and the antis. So that division seems now to be less important, and a new division is now becoming apparent. The division between you, and all of a sudden these enemies have just all of a sudden decided, yeah, it's a great time now to invade some. Normally, following an event like a or some kind of a terrorist event, distracts it from other things, attracts it towards a particular place from which the narrative begins to grow, and you become trapped in it, and you flow with it. One flows with it. You are enjoying freedom that you were denied. Um, it doesn't matter anymore because now you are more consumed with, or maybe more consumed with, the new crisis. So, the aware observer, those who become aware of what they're doing, how they live their life, only through meditation can one become aware of the mind. And only by becoming aware of the mind can we then discern when we get caught up in that emotional entanglement and drawn into narratives which are not so. Humanity is now at that point. Those who are able to discern have kind of somehow navigated their way through the 2 years of profound tension and stress, and are finding themselves in a space in which their sense of self and the sense of what's going on has now changed forever. It'll never go back. So many more are now able to see. And as this energy grows, and you can see the evidence of it all around us. And congratulations to all those who have the courage and the commitment to stand up for their human rights. And the individuals in Canada, in Paris, in Barcelona, in any part of the world where they have had the courage to stand up to the tyranny, the medical tyranny, and Australia and New Zealand. And it's funny, you will find that we don't hear this in India. We don't hear this in Pakistan. We don't hear this in Sri Lanka. We don't hear this in Africa. We don't hear this in Papua New Guinea. Interesting, isn't it? Which countries that seem to be very well connected to a particular world, something nomic forum, um, seem to have been cultivated over years, but to have certain leaders in order to put a particular agenda through. And that information exposure is also coming through. So, as more and more of this information comes through, as more and more of this exposure comes through, it is important to see it for what it is, but don't get engaged in it. Don't get drawn in it, because the agenda is far deeper than one can comprehend, as we are seeing day by day, moment by moment. And no matter what the distractions come about, and they mean maybe new coronations, and there may be new events and new wars and new viruses, it is important to remain within yourself in your sovereign state and to navigate as we move in this year of what will I call it? I would call it the year of the realization. The realization, and from the realization, the rejection. So the betrayal that the British populace has witnessed from their glorious leaders over the last few months um, is created a first the realization of what's going on, now the rejection. And in order to reject, there needs to be a response to it, not a reaction to it. In other words, it's not a knee-jerk reaction of revenge or anything like that. It's a response to it. Do you really want to take these idiots to be your authority? And that question that we asked several months ago, is truth our authority, or is authority our truth? And this demonstrated clearly those that gave their health, their freedoms to those in authority have lost it. Those who maintained their own sovereignty, stood in their truth, may still be in the chaos, but they have a sense of freedom. They have a sense of sovereignty. They have a sense of vindication. They have a sense of um, having endured the bullying, the coercion, etc., and having gone through that stress and survived, while many of those who were the stressors and were stressed themselves seem to be now coming through with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, sleepless nights, fatigue. And we will find that as we go along in the next few months, and that, bones and muscle weaknesses, these are more apparent in us. So again, do all that we can to, build your chi up. Chi Kong is a good practice to do. And the Flame Center does a fabulous class with Carol on a Wednesday, which is available also online. Please join in if you can't join in live. Build your chi, because chi will help navigate through the more the more health impacting, uh, uh, the health impact of the changes that we are currently undergoing. And as I keep reminding and will keep reminding you, that throughout the chaos, and every week there will be a new drama. Every week there's a new drama. Do not take these dramas seriously. They are of no concern. Be cautious of the change in digital currencies. It's not what it seems. Again, it's more about control. So important to know the difference between cryptocurrency and digital currency. Two different things, right? Important to go and do a bit of research in that. And again, the preparation is always to simply live. We can all live in ways which are complementary to one another, but in a healthier way, where we don't have these systems of control that are more interested in feeding their own troughs than actually dealing with the reality of people here. So many people are now experiencing that the squeeze has moved from the fear of death now to bringing the whole situation live. So while energy companies are making 20 billion pounds plus profit in a year, you will find that around us energy prices are shooting up, even those the countries that we're in have their own energy supplies. And that's to squeeze you and I, that's to squeeze everyone into a level of surrender, into a level of not being able to fight that. What? The war that humanity is daily waking up to. Every single day, we will begin to notice more and more. Because if it's all to do with the health, then why do we have military on the streets? Why do we have tanks? Why do we have in Paris, in Ottawa, in Detroit? Why do we have such military presence if it's all to do with your health, right? Why is it that individuals in Australia can't even just have a look at the footage on some of the non-centered channels like Rumble or BitChute, and you will find plenty of evidence of what's going on. So this narrative is now collapsing. The consequences are upon us. We are moving through these auspicious times in order for humanity to be shaken up, brought into some balance at a personal level, at a social level, and at a more communal level, right? And a global level over time. In that, there is going to be a shakeup, and there is a shakeup, and many are being culled. Many are being culled. Many are walking into the culling centers. Many are deliberately moving into, and many are fatigued into that submission, ill health. Many are isolated. So humanity at this moment um, will go through many losses, but those losses are necessary in order for humanity to come to its senses, because allowing others to control you only works for a while before the controllers are fighting amongst each other. And that's the good news as well. Sorry, forgot to tell you. The good news also is that you will find Within governmental structures, much conflict, much, so and so's resigning, so and so's running away. Why? Because they are all in the ship, the structures are collapsing. Do not put your trust in them. Do not put your trust in that. Your trust should be within yourself, in your sovereignty, and always coming back to that place of stillness and silence in this ocean of chaos. So the meditation is to remind us that in this chaos, there is always a place that we can return to, which has some consistent qualities. Every day things change, but this place never changes. The stillness remains still, the silence remains the silence, the peace remains the peace, and the calm and the tranquility remains the calm and the tranquility. And if we can visit that every so often in our day, in our week, we identify with that which we are and not with the psychodramas that we are being influenced um, through the media and everything else that they can use at this stage. Um, but fear not, everyone's looked after and existence knows exactly where it's going. So, better to align with existence and ride the wave than to resist and get caught up in the psychodramas. So, let's begin with our meditation as ever. And so, find yourself a nice posture. Close your eyes and close your mouth. And as you breathe in, bring your focus to your body as a whole. And realizing, recognizing that you're able to observe sensations throughout the body. So if there's any tightness, if there's any itch, pain, ache in your body, you can focus your awareness on it. See if you can scan the body from the top to your feet with the intention of noticing the sensations and the intensity in the sensations, if any. Okay. Now bring your focus gently to your inner space. So as you breathe in, you become aware of your inner space. And by that I mean the feeling, the emotion, your inner state, your thoughts. So first bringing your focus towards your thoughts. What thoughts are present there, if any? What's been your story today? Has it been consistent or has it been changing? So if you're worried about something, you'll find that your story is consistent. If you're angry, you will find your story is consistent. Thinking about something in the past. If you're worried, you will be thinking about something in the future. So what's going on in your mind today, right now? Bringing your focus now towards your chest. Hold your awareness on the surface of your chest. And you begin to observe the movement of your chest. And as you notice the movement, notice it's in rhythm with your breath. And with those movements, there are subtle sensations around your body. See if you can notice them. Refining your awareness. Begin to notice those subtle sensations on the sides near your ribs, and perhaps some sensations even in your back. Moving your focus a bit deeper into yourself, coming into the center of your body, so to speak. Hold your focus there. And as you hold your focus there, you begin to notice very gradually the feeling that's there. Noticing the feeling that's there. Is it settled or unsettled? Is the feeling pleasant, sukh, or is it unpleasant, dukh? Just the feeling, not the thought, just the feeling. And on your next breath out, begin to listen to the sounds around you. Allow the sounds to come to you. You're not trying to identify them, search them out. Simply begin to listen. Receptive. And notice how this moment is a continuous eternal moment that never finishes. As you follow this moment through the sound of this bell. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose, watching your breath as it moves in, watching your breath as it moves out. Anchoring your awareness on the movement of your breath. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. When you find that your focus has been hijacked by your thoughts, feelings, or a sensation or a noise, notice the distraction. Bring your focus back gently but firmly beneath your nose. Hold your focus just beneath your nose as best as you can. Notice that the in-breath has a start and an end, and the out-breath has a start and an end. And to move ourselves a bit deeper into this awareness, in this moment, begin to follow your out-breath all the way to the end. And as you follow your out-breath all the way to the end, allow your body to soften. Moving yourself deeper and deeper into this moment. Notice there's a tiny little gap at the end of your out-breath before the in-breath begins. See if you can notice that. Stay with your breath, allowing your awareness to go deeper and deeper into this present moment. Almost a merging of the breath with the awareness. Notice the continuous rhythm of the breath. That rhythm of start, middle, end, start, middle, end, cyclic rhythm is the same rhythm that you see in all that surrounds you. And while this moves, your breath moves, notice how you are still, unmoving, unchanging, just the observer. If thoughts come, notice them, bring your focus back to your breath. Following your out-breath all the way to the end. And you will notice there comes a point at which the nature of the breath changes itself. Notice how you're breathing now. How does the breath feel? Notice the subtle nature of your breath. Notice the way the breath flows. Notice the length of your breath. Notice the sound of your breath. Our attention totally focused on the breath. Listening to the breath as it comes in, as it goes out. Simply to listen to what's going on in the present moment is the easiest way to become present. Listening without commentary. Listening without judgment. Listening the frequencies and the sound itself. On your next breath out, with the same intensity of listening, allow your awareness to open, allowing yourself to be acutely aware of all the sounds around you. Subtle sounds. Even the sound that has a presence in silence. And then using the sound of the bell to move our focus deeper into the silence. That is our very core. This silence, this stillness, this peace, this safety is your very essence. Sovereign and free. Notice how This moment is eternally with us. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose. Sit with your breath. Sit in the silence. Sunyata, that which we all reside within. That which is empty, yet pregnant with all possibilities. On your next breath out, expand your awareness to include your body. Notice the stillness of your body. Notice you're still where you began. You can sense your thighs. Move your focus down from your knees to your ankles. Noticing your feet and even noticing the soles of your feet. Bringing some of that silence, peace within your everyday life. Coming back to your chair or your seat. Notice you're held in place. Your back is straight, upright. Your shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed and comfortable. Your eyes are closed and relaxed. Your mouth is closed and relaxed. Your face is softened, coming back to your breath. And now as the breath comes in, you can sense your body. As the breath goes out, you can sense your body. Using the bell to draw a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, gently opening your eyes.